Welcome to the GCN Tech Clinic, where Conor and I aim to answer your bike, tech, maintenance and cycling questions. As ever, you can submit your questions down below in the comment section using the hashtag AskGCNTech, and we'll do our best to answer as many of them as possible
in the allotted time.
Cool. Right, who's up first?
Abel Silver, 19. I have a road bike with 32mm tyre clearance. I would like to place 33mm gravel tyre in it. Would that be okay? Would the 1 mil difference cause any problems?
If your clearance is on paper, as the manufacturer says it, is 32, then my bet is you will get 33 in there.
I reckon so.
Because normally they're a little bit generous with that.
Yeah, I think the only consideration would be what sort of gravel tyre you're using. So like if you're using like
big knobblies,
might have a little extra width on those shoulders.
Yeah.
Might struggle.
And the other thing to consider is now, if it was a road bike, then I would be pretty certain that you would be absolutely fine going 1 mil wider than the manufacturer's stated width. However, on a gravel bike, having that clearance between the tyre and the frame is a bit more important, because on a gravel bike that clearance is really important for like dirt and mud clearance, which if you go right up to the edge of your frame and leave like a millimetre gap between your tyre and your frame, you're potentially going to damage your frame, because that dirt is going to build up in there and then rub against the frame as the tyre goes past like sandpaper and just damage the frame. So it's the best thing with this is always to sort of fit the tyre and then see how it goes. And then use your own judgment. Yeah. Yeah, and be aware of the risks. So I hope that answers your question. Next up, Dave Penfold. Yeah, says, I'm considering upgrading my trainer to one that allows some forward and back movement. With the various trainers you've reviewed, we haven't reviewed any, we just feature them, but we have tried different things. Do they in fact provide a more comfortable indoor ride? Are you able to ride longer than a trainer with static movement? So I'm a bit of a loony when it comes to indoor training, in that I've done some like really long indoor training rides. So like 5-6 hours. I've done quite a lot of the rides around that length on the indoor trainer. And it's helped me prepare for like endurance events really well. Particularly doing like heat training, which is something we're going to talk about in another question that's coming up. But I personally don't suffer that much in terms of the comfort issue, and I quite like a static trainer. However, Feather Blumming loves the trainer that moves forwards and backwards. So I'd say that it's a personal thing, and for some people it can make them feel much more comfortable on the bike. And it does feel a little bit more kind of realistic. But yeah, what's your experience? Yeah, so we've used Wahoo's Kick and Move here, and I am on the camp where I really like movement as well on a trainer. I think the fact that your bike's moving as well, so one of the issues I've had on a static trainer is that when you do like it's like a longer one, like a 2 or 3 hour ride, you get really sweaty, really salty, adds a bit of chafage. You kind of like makes saddle sores a bit like easier to come by. And I found the movement mitigates that, because the bike's kind of moving with you rather than being like firmly planted and your body's like getting that kind of movement going on the saddle. So personally, I think if you're looking for something to add a bit of comfort, I would play around with it and give it a go. I think it's worth it. I would go like this classic mantra of, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. If you feel that you think this is something that's going to benefit you, there's a good chance it will. Cool. So next one is from Yossi, who says, I've got a dedicated bike that's 15 years old for my indoor trainer, but the drivetrain is super noisy, possibly from the pulley or the chain, and it feels like I might be losing power. I'm using a Zwift cog on the trainer, so I'm wondering, would removing the rear derailleur and running it as a single speed improve the efficiency and reduce noise? If so, do I need a chain tensioner, or can I just shorten the chain and run it straight to the cog? You've used the Zwift cog, haven't you? Yeah, so you still need some sort of chain tensioner or rear derailleur. I think
the thing is, you're already using the Zwift cog on the trainer, so like you've already taken the derailleur. You're already taking the cassette out of the equation.
I think the noise could just well be that you need a new chain. Have you checked your chain wear?
That's the thing.
And is your chain sufficiently lubricated? A chain that's not sufficiently lubricated typically gets a lot noisier.
I think it could be something like this. I think,
so look at those two things.
Yeah, and the fact that it's like going to be a dedicated bike on the indoor trainer, you could give it a real solid clean, lube that chain properly, and that's going to stay clean and pretty quiet for a long time.
Like, are the bearings in like your bottom bracket, if they're spinning, if they're dry as anything, then they're going to be loud and sound quite gravelly as they turn around. So maybe there's noise coming from there.
Yeah.
So noise suggests that there's insufficient lubrication somewhere.
So hope that helps.
Yeah, should be able to get it quieter. Mr. Exxon says, I started using drip-on wax for my chain. As I understand it, should I wipe my chain down and reapply wax if needed after a ride? But can I use the Silka gear wipes for this, or will that mess with the wax? Yeah, you can use the Silka gear wipes for that. What I would do, if your chain is a little bit dirty, yeah, use a Silka gear wipe, and then just have a microfiber cloth, and then just dry off that wet residue that you might get from the gear wipe, which is sort of essentially a fancy wet wipe.
Yeah, and it won't mess with the wax.
Yes, and then once you've dried it off with the microfiber and run the chain through the microfiber and got that surface dirt off the chain, then apply some fresh drip-on wax.
Yeah.
But the reason why you're sort of doing that is there'll be surface dust and dirt on the chain from riding it outside, and when you apply the drip-on lube, what you don't want to do is for that liquid to then carry that dirt inside the chain, where it'll then create friction and wear your chain out. So to avoid that being carried through by the wet lube, you're just going to take it off the surface first and then apply some and it reduces that.
There you go.
Which is good.
Yeah.
Next question.
Carlos Stalgis, RF8TP. A few months ago, I asked if TPU tubes could be repaired. Alex answered in a video, and I then managed to fix TPU flat after watching one of Alex's videos. However, I've recently read that using one of the small electric pumps may not be recommended due to the heat they cause. Is that true? Also, I'd like to now state that Sign Down are certified mammals.
Yeah, well, I think we all are.
Yeah.
I think we all are mammals now.
I'm not middle-aged.
I think you are, mate.
I'm 33.
Yeah.
Is that middle-aged?
Yeah.
Is it?
Yeah.
Oh.
Anyway, so...
Well, I think this is an easy answer.
Well, yeah, well, we just, when we did our epic Taiwan ride, we both used TPU tubes,
yeah.
the Pirelli Smart Tube Evos, because they're super light and we're going up massive mountains. Amazing. And also, travelling a huge distance on a flight, deflating your tyres, it's just easier with tubes than tubeless setups and worrying about having to do that. And we also used the Topeak electric inflator. Now, one of my friends, right, his name is Brett. He has like a sort of Temu electric inflator. It's pretty good, right? But it does get really, really hot. And so he was inflating one of my other friends' like TPU tube, and it has a plastic valve core thing that comes out, plastic valve thing. And it got so hot it melted it. And so he had like a bent tube. So some other ones can get quite hot, but big advantage I noticed with the Topeak one is it doesn't overheat your valve.
Yeah.
So they can get quite warm, but the Topeak one is like well insulated and it doesn't get super hot like that. So it's not going to melt your valve.
It's basically got this little like elephant's trunk. So the air has to pass through and cool down a bit before it gets into the tube.
Yeah, fair, yeah.
It's an elephant's trunk.
So yeah, we're absolutely fine using it on TPU tubes. It's also super quick, so it doesn't really melt them. The next question is from Sam Brewster, who said, after watching the wheel balancing video that I did, he canvassed a few opinions on a bike forum, always a reliable place, and the prevailing view seems to be that it makes no discernible difference. The bloke from Park Tools, I think he's referring to Calvin, who says, seems to be of the same opinion. How about a blind test to see if Ollie can actually tell the difference? Should be a relatively easy thing to set up if you've got 2 sets of the same wheels. Well, we are going to do that. And we're going to do a blind test not just for me, but we're also going to do it for Conor and hopefully Alex as well. And we're all going to go down and ride a blind test and see if we can tell the difference between a balanced set and an unbalanced set. So that's one thing. The other thing is that I've been doing some investigations. So a video is going to come out because this has sent me down a rabbit hole and I've got really fascinated with this. And I've been speaking to some engineers from different places, and I've found people that have actually tested this and done investigations into it in a lab setting. And we did our own lab experiments at Silverstone as well. And I'm like, it seems to be that there is actually quite a big difference.
I'm fascinated to see the results of this. I'm
Yeah.
really, really fascinated.
Yeah. So I'm going to put myself out there, right? Stay tuned for the video. Subscribe so that you don't miss it and when we do a feature on this. But I'm going to put myself out there and I'm going to say that I reckon we will be able to tell the difference between a balanced set and an unbalanced set in a blind test. I'm putting myself out there. I think you will be able to tell the difference. But we will see. I might be proved to be completely wrong, in which case they can replay this clip and laugh at me. I don't care. I think they will be able to tell the difference.
I've been listening to you bang on about this for a long time now, and I'm
For about 50 hours when we rode across Taiwan.
and I've been one round. So, but
Right.
it's blind.
Well, we'll
so-
see. We'll see. We'll do the test. Subscribe so you don't miss it.
And that's it, I think.
Yeah, for this week.
Yeah. There
Well,
we go.
Yeah, thanks for all your questions. Sorry if we didn't get around to answering it this week. Be persistent. Get it in the comments, and we'll try and get around to it next week. And hopefully see you then.
Thanks,
Love
everyone.
you. Bye.